The innocent-looking dog you see right here, his owner's life ended in the most gruesome way imaginable, to the point that the police, the prosecution, and even forensic doctors were completely baffled by the cause. Then our heroine, who is desperate to have a child, steps in and decides to raise him. But she had no idea that with every step she takes with him, she is opening a gate to hell with her own hands. And since there have been a lot of events involving dogs lately, please focus on every single word you are about to hear. To get the full story from the very beginning, we need to rewind a few days to get to know our heroine, Marwa. We see her on Mother's Day, standing at work in a cafe, watching all the mothers sitting with their children while a song about mothers plays in the background. She is lost in thought, wishing she could be a mother herself because work has stolen her time and her youth, and she simply forgot to get married. We do tend to overlook these little things sometimes. She finishes her shift and goes to the home where she has lived alone since she became independent, moved to Cairo and left her family in Sohag. She sits alone on her bed, looking at pictures of children, with a specific idea in her head that she is striving to execute. We will find out what it is in a bit. Right now, her father calls to check on her. He asks if she plans to visit him since he is a new groom. He hints that he knows how opposed she is to his marriage, but she laughs kindly and replies, "Why would I be upset, Dad? I'm happy for you. You'll have someone to keep you company." He plays along, assuming she is convinced, then explains the real reason for his call. He is just letting her know that he will delay her monthly allowance for another 2 months. His excuse is that he is getting married. Marwa is shocked because this money isn't a favor from him. It is the revenue from her mother's inheritance. But she stays silent and replies, "Don't worry about it, Dad." The problem is she desperately needed that money for the idea she wants to carry out. The very next day, we finally learn what this idea is. Surprise! She wants to perform an egg freezing procedure to preserve her chances of pregnancy no matter how old she gets. After all, she doesn't want to choose just anyone for the sake of becoming a mother, only to end up regretting it later. The doctor is surprised to see Marwa and mentions she knows her. We learn our heroine is a famous article writer who looks up to strong female figures. The doctor asks if she is married and suggests leaving a contact number for a relative in case they need to be reached, as the procedure's side effects aren't always predictable. But Marwa refuses to involve anyone, insisting she is old enough to sign the consent form herself. While paying the fees outside, she asks the nurse if there is really hope for the procedure, saying, "I'm paying everything I have for this." Before she can finish, she receives a voice note on her workgroup chat from her manager. He informs them that due to the pandemic, may those days never return. They will all be working from home with new contracts. No more permanent positions, just freelance work. Marwa drops everything and rushes to confront her manager. She scolds him with blame and reproach. "Me? You're firing me? Did you forget I built this website with you from scratch? If it weren't for my articles, no one would have even heard of you." He replies, "First off, that joke is old and overused. Don't say it again. Second, I appreciate your hard work, but this is the board's decision. And third, you aren't fired. You'll just upload articles and get paid per piece. If it gets engagement, you get a bonus." She reminds him that she hasn't received her salary for 2 months, and he knows exactly why she needs that money, referring to the operation. At that moment, he tries to calm her down, explaining that they are both workaholics. He asks, "Do you think I don't have a heart? I want to get married and have kids too, but I'd wrong any family I have because of my love for work." He tries to advise her to drop the idea of marriage and kids entirely. She looks at him with heartbreak and asserts, "I will get married and have kids. I won't turn my heart into plastic like yours." She sadly explains, "You don't know what it's like to be alone all day, not speaking because you know no one will answer. If you're late, no one asks about you." As she turns to leave, he calls out, "Hey, listen, get yourself a dog." She thinks he is insulting her, but he explains, "My daughter, you're used to writing but you don't read. A dog is man's best friend. Studies show that raising one makes a lonely person feel like they have family. Plus, dogs are the most loyal animals." She isn't convinced at all, insisting, "No, I will have a human baby," and leaves. She goes to the cafe where her sister calls to say she tried to talk their father into giving Marwa her inheritance revenue, but he refused, claiming he doesn't have it right now. Immediately, the nurse sends a voice note rushing her for the procedure fees. Marwa replies that she has a financial issue but will solve it soon. At that moment, she notices all social media platforms are flooded with pictures of dogs in adoption centers. She feels it is a sign from God. When her colleague Kareem arrives, she tells him about her manager's suggestion and the signs she feels she is receiving. But he stops her train of thought immediately. "What sign? You know our phones record whatever we talk about to search for it and show us ads. Is this news to you? But if you want to raise a dog, you won't find a better animal to keep you company." He confirms he has one and shows her a picture, sharing stories that sound just like raising a child. At that moment, Marwa's eyes light up. Her maternal instincts kick in, and she feels she might finally find true companionship. She makes the decision to buy one. She goes to a place that looks very clean and meets many dogs. But the one that touches her heart is a specific dog with an incredibly innocent face. She feels even more for him when she learns his owner died in a tragic accident. He looks like a cookie, but trust me, he won't just bite you. He'll destroy you. Strangely, the dog feels an immediate bond with Marwa the moment he sees her, so much so that the lady in charge says, "That's all the proof we need." Let's get into the honeymoon phase, which doesn't last long. First, she names him Dogo. She plays with him, singing "Toot Toot, Little Train." His presence motivates her to write more articles, and her passion grows. But very quickly, she starts noticing strange things. The moment she puts food down, she turns around and it's gone. Not Dogo. No, the food vanishes instantly. She doesn't dwell on it. Meanwhile, something terrifying happens elsewhere. We see a person taking a specific solution. Suddenly, he drops to the ground, panting exactly like a dog, looking like he is becoming feral. The disaster is that when we rewind a few nights, we find this same person standing in front of Dogo before Marwa bought him. He looks at the dog with sharp, intense eyes and puts food down for him. Food laced with the same substance he just took. Back to Marwa. Her passion is still high. She exercises in the morning, full of energy, having completely forgotten about the operation. But her landlady, Mrs. Fawzia, hears Marwa's voice and assumes she has a man inside. She bangs on the door, shouting accusations. Marwa asks, "Did you hear this voice?" It turns out to be the TV she was exercising to. But Fawzia doesn't shut up. She keeps looking around, sensing strange movement. Marwa hides Dogo because dogs are strictly forbidden in the building. After Fawzia demands the building maintenance fees and late rent, Marwa goes to her job at the cafe. There, a customer she has known for a long time comes in. It turns out to be her college friend's daughter. Marwa is shocked at how much she has grown and is surprised to learn she is engaged and getting married in 2 months. When the girl invites her, confirming she will send an invitation, she asks, "Just 2 people?" Marwa is extremely embarrassed and says, "No, I'm single, just one." The girl gives her a pitying look for embarrassing her, then leaves, insisting she must come. From this moment, Marwa rethinks just settling for Dogo and decides to reconsider the operation. What she doesn't know is that Dogo sensed this change, and his true face begins to show. From this moment in the summary, what passed was a warm-up, and for what's coming, may God help us. This isn't just minibus talk. When Marwa gets home, she looks for Dogo but can't find him. She hears a sound under the sofa. When she plays with him using a stick, he devours the stick in one go. She hears a horrific, beastly sound. Terrified, she is convinced a strange creature has killed Dogo. She takes out her phone to film this creature, but in the blink of an eye, Dogo appears before her. She is startled but thinks she overreacted. The next day, while walking him, she meets Mrs. Fawzia on the stairs. Fawzia is shocked, screams at her, curses Dogo, and reminds her of their agreement: no men, no dogs. I'm not sure what she meant by grouping those two together, but hopefully it's fine. Imagine this: just sensing Marwa wanted a natural child made Dogo almost eat her. What do you think will happen when he gets insulted right to his face? We'll find out in a bit. Right now, she goes to work after Fawzia has ruined her day. She talks to Kareem, telling him everything. Kareem suggests an idea that will seal her fate. But of course, we never tell anyone. He suggests locking Dogo in a cage at home so he doesn't move around and alert Fawzia, or worse, escape. She looks at Dogo, deeply affected. Later, her manager calls to congratulate her because her article on the website got great views and was ranked among the top articles. She replies, "See? Aren't you regretting letting me go?" He replies, "My daughter, I didn't let you go at all." He confirms he will send the payment for the article and keep accumulating the bonus for her. Yeah, sorry, it all adds up. Marwa feels like the world is finally smiling at her since Dogo entered her life. But still, she goes to the doctor and agrees to the operation and the next steps. The doctor explains all the details and informs her she will need stimulation injections to increase the success rate. She warns Marwa she might feel some confusion or even hallucinations, so she shouldn't be afraid. It's all side effects. Marwa tells her she knows how to give herself injections just fine. Honestly, the doctor couldn't care less about that detail. On the other hand, the same mysterious person who took the dog solution earlier is seen watching Marwa's house, specifically the balcony where Dogo is. It seems there is a strange link between them. At the same time, Mrs. Fawzia is in her apartment. The ironing man comes to deliver her order. As usual, being a grumpy and constantly angry woman, she snaps at him. "Can't you see I'm opening the door and what I'm wearing? How am I supposed to get the money? I'll pay your boss when I go down." In her anger, she doesn't close the apartment door properly. She goes straight in to prepare the bathroom for a shower. At that moment, her apartment door opens. The moment of retribution arrives. We are surprised by footsteps approaching her in the bathroom. While she is busy adjusting the water, she is startled to see Dogo standing in front of her. Yes, Dogo opened the door himself. At first, his look is normal. She is about to push him away, but she sees something she never expected from such a small creature. She screams at the top of her lungs. Suddenly, blood splatters everywhere, accompanied by a strange sound, impossible to imagine coming from a dog of his size. We quickly cut to Marwa arriving home. She doesn't find him in his cage. Just as she starts to wonder, he appears standing behind her. She asks him playfully, "What is this? How did you get out when I locked it myself?" She puts him back inside. She takes Mrs. Fauzia's money, God rest her soul, to pay her instead of waiting for her to come up. She is surprised to find Dogo is still with her. When she goes down to Fauzia's apartment, she rings the bell. No answer. She knocks and the door swings open. Dogo races Marwa inside. Yes, the same Dogo she just locked up upstairs. Marwa calls him to get out. Terrified, Fauzia will see him and cause a scene. Unfortunately, the scene has already been caused. Dogo plays the innocent guide, leading Marwa to Fauzia, who is lying in the bathtub, her flesh torn apart by his teeth. Marwa realizes he did this, but she has no proof. She breaks down, unable to pull herself together. In her panic, she tries to flee, but she hears neighbors coming to pay rent. As usual, they describe Fauzia with the worst insults, saying, "Let's give her the money on a shoe sole. She's bossy and has a tongue longer than her body." Marwa hides, but she calculates her next move poorly. Unfortunately, she opens the first gate of hell she is about to experience on Earth. After they leave, she rushes to clean up the blood. I really don't know why. She could have just called the police. Anyway, she wipes away the traces, takes the late Mrs. Fauzia, puts her in her car, drives to a remote location, and dumps her in the water. This marks the first recorded case in history of aiding and abetting a dog. She returns home terrified, still caring for Dogo, convincing herself he is innocent or just a witness, that someone else must have done this. Basically, she is in denial. The next day, we notice she acts normally. Her only worry is, where will she take the dog? Later, a customer comes in wanting coffee after they have finished work and run out of coffee. Marwa suggests to Kareem that they make him a cup from the staff supply. They sit together. She gets to know him. His name is Omar. It's clear there is mutual attraction from the first sip, since they are in a cafe and all. She goes home, searches for him online, and sends him a friend request as agreed. But then Dogo jumps on the bed, sees Omar's face. Yes, as you expected, we are all in for a surprise. The next morning, she walks Dogo comfortably. She meets the neighbor she hid from while she was in the dead woman's apartment. He says angrily, "I know exactly what you and your dog did." She freezes, terrified, but she realizes it is a hallucination, a side effect of the injections, just as the doctor warned. In reality, he is just asking about Fauzia. They proceed to talk about how annoying and unbearable she is. Omar walks in on them while they are trash-talking Fauzia. Marwa asks, "Omar, what brings you here? And who is this woman we are insulting?" He replies, "That's Mrs. Fauzia, the landlady no one can stand." When she asks why he is here, he replies, "I'm here for that annoying woman. I mean, my aunt." Marwa apologizes profusely. They leave together, and she apologizes again for letting him hear insults about his relative. He assures her he isn't upset, admitting she is indeed impossible to live with, but she is family. He asks if she knows where she is. Marwa denies it, lying that she heard Fauzia was planning to go to Luxor recently. While talking to him, she receives an email from work regarding her article payment. The amount is shockingly low. She gets furious, excuses herself from Omar, and goes straight to her manager. A heavy argument breaks out. He reminds her they never agreed on a specific price for her to build dreams on. He adds that even if the company made profits, she isn't a partner to share them, and she needs to consider the global pandemic and her colleagues who need to get paid too. He tries to smooth things over, saying he is happy she listened to him and got a dog. She retorts, "Listen, this talk doesn't work with me. I want my money or else." He asks, "Or else what? You want to leave? Go ahead. I'm tired of this. This is how we work." Marwa feels he is firing her. Before she can speak, he says, "Yes, I'm firing you. Go find people who appreciate your work." Of course, he says this in the presence of Dogo. Marwa leaves and goes down to her car. She looks for Dogo but doesn't find him beside her. He has gone back up to show the manager that revenge is an art form. Suddenly, Marwa is shocked to see her manager falling in front of her, landing in the exact same condition as Fauzia. She looks up to see Dogo staring down at her, looking as if he did absolutely nothing. The next day, she sees the manager's death on the news. Seconds later, the CEO calls her, giving her the manager's full salary and promoting her to his position. That night, we find her walking with Omar. She tells him what happened. Well, not everything. She just tells him she got promoted. Notice how Marwa actually starts to enjoy Dogo's behavior because he is doing exactly what she wishes she could do but lacks the courage for. We see this when Omar expresses surprise at how quickly a human being was replaced, referring to the manager's position and her sudden promotion. She replies coldly, He was an animal who deserved what happened to him. Omar senses she is annoyed with him, so he drops the subject. Marwa goes home and gives herself the stimulation injection. Just then, Omar arrives with a gift. She asks, "What's this?" "My birthday isn't now." He replies, "I'm not going to wait for your birthday. I got you this so your heart doesn't ache every time you leave Dogo alone." It seems Omar is very sharp and senses something strange about Marwa, which we will confirm in about 3 minutes. He installs surveillance cameras for her and connects them to her phone so she can check on Dogo constantly. He adds, "And so you won't worry when we go out." She suggests, "Why don't we try it now?" Meaning they should go out together. They go out. Omar tells her his father is extremely worried about his Aunt Fazia and they are planning to break into her apartment, but they are waiting for permission from the prosecution. He tries to ask if Fazia had issues with anyone. Marwa answers, "That woman had issues with every living creature, but mostly with our neighbor, the one you saw with me. They were always at each other's throats." When he excuses himself to go to the bathroom, she tries to check the camera to check on Dogo. At first, she can't find him anywhere. Then suddenly, he appears right in front of the lens, staring directly into the camera. She jumps in her seat. When she returns home, she finds the police arresting her neighbor. The next day, she meets Omar, who informs her that the prosecution arrived and now suspects foul play because they found traces of blood. Marwa tries to dismiss it, suggesting maybe she just cut herself, but Omar clarifies that the amount of blood found isn't from a simple cut. He adds that the arrested neighbor is the prime suspect because Omar gave Marwa's statement to the police. He insists she must testify too, reminding her, "Didn't you say there were disputes between him and my aunt?" Marwa is shocked. She didn't expect their casual chat to turn into a formal statement and testimony. She snaps at him, yelling. When he asks why she is so tense, she smartly replies, "No reason. My manager died. My landlady disappeared. My neighbor is accused of her disappearance. Maybe I'm next. Plus, my private conversation with you was immediately leaked to the prosecution." She manages to turn the tables on him instantly. She goes straight to the doctor to start the egg retrieval procedure. But suddenly, the doctor turns on her, asking, "Why did you kill them? Is it fair for your poor neighbor to take the fall?" She ties Marwa to the bed and puts the victim's blood traces into her IV drip. Suddenly, Marwa wakes up. The doctor explains the procedure is done. It was just a hallucination from the anesthesia. After Marwa goes home, her friend's daughter arrives, having a breakdown, asking for help. Through their discussion, we learn the girl refuses to have children right now. Marwa listens, boiling with rage at the girl's way of thinking, unable to stand a word she says. She tries to reason with her, explaining that what she has is a blessing many are deprived of and desperate for. But in her breakdown, the girl says things that wound Marwa. Or perhaps Marwa has truly become violent and is looking for any fault. The girl wishes she were like Marwa, saying, "I wish I were like you. No kids, no burdens." Marwa is deeply offended. At the same time, we cut to Omar, who receives a phone call from the prosecution. It is clear they have proven the truth, but we don't hear exactly what was said. Back to Marwa, she listens as the girl happily talks about Dogo, saying, "Wow, really? If they agree, I'll buy a dog instead of having a baby. Imagine, you and I walking our dogs together." This talk infuriates Marwa, and she struggles to hide her anger. Out of sheer frustration, she accidentally cuts herself. The girl rushes to her, worried. Just then, Marwa's phone rings. She asks the girl to answer and put it on speaker. It is Omar. He informs her they found his aunt's body dumped in the water, her flesh torn apart in the exact same way as her manager. He emphasizes, "Marwa, you must be the killer's target." But Marwa flips the script again, asking, "What? Are you accusing me?" No matter how much Omar tries to calm her down, she refuses to listen and insists the girl hang up immediately. After the girl obeys, she becomes worried about Marwa and suggests she leave the house immediately because she is in danger. But Marwa's look changes. She starts begging the girl to leave instead, realizing the girl doesn't understand anything. She advises her to drop this nonsense thinking and thank God that someone loves her and wants to have children with her at her age. The girl is confused, saying, "What are you talking about? I'm scared for you. Let's get out of here quickly." Marwa, whose nerves are now completely in sync with Dogo's, pushes her away violently, so hard that the girl gets hit in the nose and starts bleeding. Marwa begs for forgiveness. The girl falls to the floor, crying. Just as she is about to scream for help, she is dragged inside by Dogo. Marwa tries to hold on to her with all her strength, but she can't. And all of this happens right in front of Omar on the camera. Remember when we said Omar is very smart? Can't believe what he is seeing. Marwa stands there listening to the sound of Dogo crunching the girl's bones, unable to do a thing. Just like last time with Mrs. Fazia, she cleans up the traces, takes the girl, and dumps her in the same place. But this time, she takes the dog and dumps him on the road with her. She leaves him, her eyes full of sadness, fear, and terror for him. His look back at her is genuinely innocent. But as they say, pity leads to poverty. Strangely, after she leaves, we see the same mysterious person arrive. The moment the dog smells his scent, he sits down and completely surrenders. Our heroine returns home alone, only to find Omar waiting for her. As soon as she enters, he asks, "Where is the girl? Where did you dispose of her?" She replies, "So that's why you got me the cameras. I won't tell you. He asks, then where is Dogo? When she hears him ask about the dog, she breaks down, refusing to tell him where she left him. She explains that he is innocent and didn't do anything. He was just trying to protect her. But Omar is scared for her, explaining that Dogo's presence is a danger to her life. He advises her to reveal his location, or the victims will increase every day. But Marwa has completely lost her mind. She laughs maniacally and tells him, if you want the dog, sing for him. Toot toot, little train. She keeps repeating the song and its lyrics until, crash, they find the door being broken down. The sound of teeth gnawing at the wood. The glass of the door shatters. Omar draws his gun, about to shoot. In that moment, Marwa saves Dogo. She grabs a sharp object and plunges it into Omar's back. He falls and loses his life in an instant. She hugs Dogo, never once asking herself, how did he find his way back to her? Sometime later, we find Dogo back at the same place with the mysterious person who always tamed him. We learn from the owner of the place that Marwa has been arrested. She explains to Dogo's new buyer that he is innocent and sweet, just unlucky. She convinces him to adopt him and he agrees. After he leaves, the same mysterious person arrives. The moment Dogo sees him, he sits immediately. We realize this person is hired specifically to guard Dogo and give him a serum that makes him hyper-aggressive. As for Dogo, being man's best friend, he instinctively defends his owner. But with the serum, his defense mechanism becomes so powerful and lethal that even he doesn't understand where this strength comes from or why. Why is this guard doing this? And was he hired at this place specifically for the dog? That is something no one knows. Doesn't this remind you of something these days?